Summit Learning is a program that we adopted here at Aspen Public Schools about 4 years ago. We'll be starting our 5th year. And I do want to, real quick, I think I want to show. Raul, can you go ahead and mute yourself for me, please? And then, why am I not showing on this? Interesting. Oh well. So let's just dive right into it. So Summit Learning was a program that was developed around 15 years ago that was part of a charter network up in the Bay Area that had a network about 15 schools that they did serve, mainly high school. They did have 7 and 12. And they just basically developed this program that combines core values and what science tells us how students learn best, as well as some cutting edge research to really tailor the school experience to the community's needs. So we were excited to adopt that in 2016, and we had really good success with that. I did want to show you, I'll have some videos here and there because I feel like that really, I'm a visual learner myself, so seeing it in action and seeing more of the why really helps understand why this is a big rock and really important to our school's culture, and mainly with our mission statement of transforming the community by developing exceptional leaders. And this program encompasses a lot of our core values and helps our students grasp and learn those as they are learning their academics. So here's just a quick video. And this is actually
Adonis is the helper. He wants to know everything so that he can help with everything. He's always had a million questions. Before Summit, he didn't really need to study. He just felt like, oh, I know this stuff already. I know this.
The only thing I really liked about school was learning with the teachers.
And minus pollution that you're adding.
He doesn't want the easy way out. He doesn't like being bored. He wants it to be hard or challenging.
Something else that means pollution,
every week we have a mentor meeting and we talk about what I need to work on.
With Summit, he's just constantly engaged, constantly learning. There's always something to learn. It's a huge difference.
I remember one day, all of the 5th graders were tutoring everyone, and we were writing on the whiteboard, and then if someone wanted help, we were all listening, and then we all just started collaborating. Everyone was getting caught up. No one was ever feeling like an outcast because they didn't know how to do something.
I always enjoy seeing Adonis explain things. I love to watch him do that.
Because I've been studying.
He's working all day, and he's engaged all day. He's never bored. It's just constantly engaging, and that's what you want.
It felt good. We were all helping each other, and I was so happy. I like seeing people smile. It's just like a good feeling when you know that you made someone smile.
So that's our why. That's what we ultimately want students to feel. We want them to feel safe. We want them to have a sense of community in their classroom. And we want them to be able to take ownership of their learning and really find out what they do to learn, like how they learn best. Everyone's different. And so that, video I just filled just really encompasses our why. Now, Summit is backed by a lot of research, so some of these names may be familiar, some of them aren't. They really have dived deep into, like I said, just really learning how students learn best and developing a program that meets the needs of all learners. So our first year doing Summit, we did it with our 6th to 8th grades, and that first year we had tremendous growth in our state Smarter Balance testing. we essentially at least 10% growth in both math and ELA across all grades. And what's also interesting is our first year of implementing this program, even our students that were right at the cusp of meeting the standards, there's 4 categories. You have not meeting standards, nearly meeting, meeting, and exceeding. And even our nearly meetings, we closed that gap quite a bit. And so these ones, they're right on the cusp of meeting the standards. So we were super impressed with that our first year out. Then it just got better and better. Our 8th grade, and what this data shows is this is the same cohort followed from 6th grade. So these are their 6th grade standard or 6th grade students, what they scored on the Smarter Balance test in ELA their first year, then what they scored the next year, and this is the same group of students, and then what they scored as 8th grade. So we really know that that 3rd year in Summit is really a magical year for us. And we, that's our ultimate goal. Currently we're only up to 8th grade, and we want to ensure that they're going to be successful no matter where they go once they leave us. And hopefully we'll have our high school and they'll just continue that growth all the way on there. So even this last school year, we didn't take the Smarter Balance this year for obvious reasons, but our last year we were super impressed with, because for the first time, we actually beat the state average scores in our ELA and a couple grade levels in math as well. So this is, more of our why. We want our students to stand out. You brought your students to our charter school because you wanted them to have a different experience than they were getting whatever in their neighborhood school or whatever school you had them in. And we feel confident that the Summit Learning Program, as well as our Aspen way of leadership, that we will achieve that. And we've seen it. So, we've always outperformed Fresno Unified, but, it was really exciting to see that we actually outperformed the state this past year. And then these are the math scores too. So this is a percent of students that are meeting and exceeding. So again, always beating Fresno Unified, but then we also beat the state, and we actually tied the state too. So that's super exciting. I wanted to do a couple quotes of some parents that have been in Summit. So these were a couple years ago. Well, one's 1 year, and then the 4th grade parent, as you know, we haven't had Summit down in 4th grade for a couple years, but this was her experience, and she had her son in our school for continued after that too. So, as a parent, she had many questions and was initially overwhelmed by Summit Learning in the beginning of the school year. However, as the school year went on, I became encouraged. It has been rewarding to see new strengths and growth in my son as he continues to learn in a new way. I'm grateful for Aspen Valley Prep for making the change to Summit platform and the preparation my son is receiving for his future. Additionally, Sonia, she had 2 students. Actually, she started out with a 6th grader, and then eventually her, now he graduated as 8th grade. He's been in Summit for the last 3 years as well. So she writes, I am very happy with Summit. My son has special needs and is getting great grades. He has been attending AVPA since kindergarten, and the school team has been excellent. My daughter also attended since kindergarten and is now a freshman at Central West. I was nervous and wondering if and how she was going to adapt to regular classes and homework, and she has a 4.0 now. She adapted very well, and teachers even said she was ahead of her classmates. For example, freshmen are barely learning MLA format, and she had been doing it for a couple years at AVPA. I completely recommend Summit and AVPA schools. So those are just some parent testimonies that show why, again, coming back to our why. Again, we want our students to stand out, and we want them to be exceptional leaders in their community, and that's going to be in a lot of different facets. So there's 4 learning outcomes in Summit, and it's cognitive skills, which are the transferable lifelong skills like oral presentation, precision, theme, argumentative claim, selecting good evidence. Those are some things that are going to be transferable no matter where they go. The second one is their content knowledge, and this is going to be, learning how to do fractions, learning about the water cycle, that content, which essentially like their state standards is equivalent to that. Within that, they're also building these habits of success, and these are mindsets and behaviors that support their well-being to where they're able to tackle the cognitive skills and tackle the content knowledge by building these habits that will help them be successful, again, career and beyond. And then all of that comes in with their sense of purpose. And so what is their, what is their why? What do they want to have as outcomes in their life? And so all of those 4 pillars are what they'll see throughout their learning while they're in Summit Learning. So within those 4 outcomes, there's 3 pillars that is built on. We do one-to-one mentoring, so every student is going to be paired with a mentor. They meet with that mentor once a week for about 10 minutes, and they go over, what some goals, their experiences, what they're struggling with, and they really hash out, and the mentor helps them facilitate like what habits they need to be working on and gives them goals and tips on how to do that. On top of that are basically 2 other things that you'll see within a classroom. The students are constantly working on real-world projects, and so they're developing their cognitive skills while they're working on these real-world projects. And then there's also the individualized pathways, and that's where they're working on their content knowledge to then be able to find out how they learn best. Maybe they do better with the video, maybe they do better, peer-to-peer. So it's just this really neat individualized way of finding out. And then we've built our schedule and everything around to make sure that all of these are able to be facilitated in an efficient manner. Uh-oh. No. All right. Uh-oh. So diving into each of them, I'm kind of going a little fast, but this will be recorded so you can see it at a later date. So what are those cognitive skills? Like I said before, those are those essential and transferable life skills. And they were developed by the Stanford Center for Assessment, Learning, and Equity. And what they did is they found out that, a lot of students were dropping out of college, and they were accepted into these 4-year colleges. So it wasn't like they didn't have the abilities. And so they were finding that after 2 years, they were dropping out. And so what the Scale Center did is they did a lot of research. They interviewed students, they interviewed professors, they interviewed teachers, a lot of stakeholders to find out, okay, what are we missing? What are we not preparing them in high school and before for them to be able to do well in college? And they basically identified these 36 cognitive skills that are super important that they have in order to be successful. And so the nice thing about Summit is they're starting those in 5th grade. So each year they're going to see the same cognitive skills, and they'll be asked to, grow within them, and it's on a rubric. So, the 5th graders are going to be asked to, do kind of rudimentary, decision making or something first, but then the next year they're going to be asked, okay, well, you scored this last year. Now we're going to, see what we can do to improve upon that. And then by the time they graduate high school, they should be well on the high on the rubric. What is going on? Sorry, my Chrome is messing up. All right. So you can, I guess I'll just keep it like this. You can see the different umbrella, I guess, of the cognitive skills. So there's like, analyzing text, using sources, asking questions of inquiry, analysis. And so basically each student, as they're working through a project, they're going to be each project picks like 2 or 3 of these cognitive skills that it builds upon within that project. And here's just another viewpoint too. And I will be sharing this PowerPoint with you guys through Parent Square or email. So like I said, I do need to go a little bit quick because I want to be able to go through everything for you guys and then have some questions at the end. So I'm not going to show this video. It's basically a student in a high school that was really apprehensive of the oral presentation, and her mentor and her teacher really worked with her, and they saw, at the beginning of the year, she struggled in some areas, but because of how the projects and such work, she really built a lot of confidence. And again, with that rubric, she challenged herself to move in that category. So what I'll share with you guys, again, this PowerPoint, and you can see these videos on your own. Many of them are on our school website already under the Summit Learning tab as well. The next pillar is our content knowledge, and this, like I said before, are their the state standards that we're mandated to teach and that the students learn upon. So they do need to say they're working on a project about cooking or whatever. Well, they need to know foundational or content knowledge about fractions in order to use that knowledge within the project. And so yeah, so that's where they do that. Then so I do have another video too. So this student was I don't remember actually. Sorry. Well, we can watch this one. It's a short one.
I definitely have a big passion towards science. I just really love to do a lot of research and to see how it's affected our world.
Our common ancestor gave rise to 14 species of Darwin's finches.
He's always had that curiosity, but how did we hone that curiosity to become academic?
In the Summit Learning program, students learn content knowledge through teacher-led discussions, through small group activities, peer-to-peer tutoring, and through the context of applying that knowledge in their projects.
This is the last project before the AP test.
Content knowledge is the key information for each discipline because it helps students have the basic information they need to navigate not just their courses, but the broader world.
So how was it when you went?
It was pretty cool.
Did you got all the pictures?
Yes.
In the Summit Learning curriculum, there's a wide range of resources for kids to choose from, and that choice is really important as students grow as self-directed learners.
So one of the theories that we can also look at is the Darwin theory of how he did all that research with.
So for the finches, I saw that there was this one type of bird hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
This one just shows the specific kind of finches, but how through natural selection.
And so at first, that was very difficult, and I was like, I can't find any information. I don't know why this bird changed into this type of creature. It was a couple of days until I said, I'm going to do a little bit more research and try to see if I have to think a little bit more.
When he doesn't understand something, he will ask the question, but you can tell that he feels in the moment like, oh, I need to do this by myself before I ask the teacher, and that's something that I really love about him as a scholar.
So the goal for today is to be done with all 6 of those checkups when you leave the room.
What's great about the Summit curriculum is that you can access those scholars who struggle, and you can pull them into small groups in the classroom.
The survival of the fittest, because that's Darwinism.
I focused a lot on discussion this year and how the content builds off itself to lead to these higher level discussions and connections to outside, real world applications of science.
Do the natural.
No, but they're not similar.
Oh no, I was going with this one.
People think one-to-one school, everyone has their headphones on and is staring at their computer, but I like how collaborative it is. Caesar knows he wants to major in science. He knows he wants to be a doctor. So he really leaned into any challenge that had to do with science and used it to further his knowledge of science. And so I've seen him develop a lot that way this year in biology because of the foundation he's had in Summit Science. I've heard him say he feels really confident going to college, talking about things he may or may not understand, but using the discussion tools that he's learned in class to push his thinking, and it's just really awesome.
Projects are really the opportunity to connect the content knowledge with an authentic, problem-based experience. When it comes to learning, we believe there's no ceiling for kids in how they're able to learn and how they're able to perform.
So you kind of see how the program just really lends itself to fostering how students learn best. You'll see in how it's broken up and throughout the day is the students will work most of the day in their project time, and the teachers are scaffolding, they're working through checkpoints, they're really practicing those cognitive skills and the content that they're going to apply into a final product. So here's another little quick example, and these are actually some of our students. So this is what you would see when you would walk into most classrooms. Oh, you kidding me. Here we go.
All right, you can have your attention, please. We just started our solar cell project. Remember, your final product is going to be to build a solar cell device. What we're going to do today is we're going to play around with some solar cells, and you're going to try to figure out how they work. learning science from a book is one thing and the theory is fine, but I think kids at this stage, they really need their hands on. So for the first 3 minutes, all I want you to do is open up the materials and start playing with them. Try to figure out how they work. The project is really teaching them the engineering design process. They're going to go through a series of steps or checkpoints, and they have to design a device that uses solar cells. Can I see your setup? They're going to do a group brainstorm, then they'll do an initial design, get some feedback, then they'll go back to the design and fix it and tweak it until they think it's ready to present. That's it, it works.
I can see it visually instead of just like saying what happens. Like, it actually shows us that it actually does work and it does the process it goes through.
We want to get them motivated by asking, how does this work? What happens when we add this component? What happens if we change the type of light frequency? So that's a big talk skill that, especially in the science community, that we need to make sure that they are able to effectively wield. I feel like everyone's born curious, and if you capture that curiosity, it hooks them into the project and it gets them thinking about, it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to be curious.
So, we don't just always see this collaborative or this project building in science. We see it in math, we see it in history, and we even see it in English. So these real-world projects are really real-world projects that are transferable to them what they're gonna see in the real world. So here's some more examples. I'm just gonna kind of go quick. When you walk into a classroom, you'll see a lot of busyness. It's a lot of production going on. You'll see, students working by themselves. You'll see students working in groups. You'll see the teacher working with small groups. So it's just a really active classroom, and it's just a lot of production of work being completed. It's not just chaotic. So as I mentioned before, those habits of success, there are about 16 of them that are social emotional learning skills, and they're really building upon that in their mentor meetings. But a lot of the projects build or manifest these skills as well, and while they're working on them. So we really appreciate those. And they do align really well with our 7 habits and such, as you can see. So again, you'll see, that productive class, either the teacher will be working on those habits of success in, with family meetings, with modeling them, with their one-to-one mentor meetings, or in small mentor groups too, or the leadership time. So the second component that you'll see them throughout the day is their personal learning time. And what they do during this is they set their goals through them learning the content, and they're able to either be collaborative, they're able to work by themselves. They'll also see, small group workshops going on, and they basically have menus of supports that, can either be a video, an interactive, a reading, just to really hit as many modalities as we can to foster how they learn best. And again, you'll see a lot going on in that classroom. Just like I said, it looks very similar to the project time, except this time they're working through their content, learning the content during that time. And so here's some examples. Our gym is kind of set up like this, but most of the time there's just a lot going on, and just a lot of collaboration or productivity coming in the classrooms. And I already talked about sense of purpose, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. And again, just going over those pillars, the mentorship, project time, and then that personal learning time. We hold mentorship very high, and this is our reason why. Again, it just comes back to our why. We don't feel that we would have had nearly the success that we've had with this program had we not done the mentoring component. So we really feel strongly about that, and it's a big rock of ours that we would not compromise in. And this is our why.
When I started summer, I used to say I really don't care. Like, I would say I'm not going to do it.
Coming into 6th grade education, she didn't see it as a valid path towards what she wanted in life. It was more of an obligation than an opportunity. She was stuck in this mode of, it's my way and I'm going to do it, and if you don't like it, oh well.
I guess like until the middle of the year, I kind of got worried, and I was like, okay, I need to get started. I remember saying for the next year, I'm going to do a lot better.
So you researched your phenomena, right? So you said, I wanted to learn about seasons. So you went in and to the focus area. What Summit does perfectly is it takes that student-centered idea and it provides the tools you need to support that student, right? So things like the data on them, where exactly are they struggling, what exactly are they interested in, and what are their goals for the future, and merging it all together with that curiosity.
It helps me better because like it's just us two. It's not like a whole group that we're all like sharing at the same time. It helps you actually learn what you need help with, and it helps you actually understand the concept you're learning.
Alrighty, can I have your attention, please? So if you're done filling out this tiny URL, what I need you to do is try to answer this question: what is a wave? And she's really aware of how she learns and when she needs to use different techniques based on what she's learning and the difficulty. She learned really quickly that she is a social learner. She'll get a small group of students together, they'll do notes together, do a study group, they'll quiz each other.
Sometimes I don't get something by myself, and while in groups we can actually like work together and we can break it down, like each one of us, and that's when I kind of like get it.
So we just started our solar cell projects. Remember, your final product is going to be to build a solar cell device. She now has a lot more confidence in herself and in her academic ability. Before she would come in and say, oh, I can't do it, I can't do it. Now she's, oh, I can do that. It's real simple. Along with that, she's more motivated. She sees the goal, she sets in, she works towards it, and doesn't stop until she reaches it. And if she has setbacks, she can articulate why she got set back, and she can say, this is exactly what happened, this is where I went wrong, this is what needs to do next time. And for an 8th grader to be able to say exactly where her learning stopped is amazing. She sees education as her best option and the best chance to achieve what she wants in life.
I think I am now that I learned that I'm a very determined person, and if I want it, I'll get it. I've learned that I can do a lot of things. It's just if I put my mind to it.
So again, Mr. Ruiz was Perla's mentor, and she was his mentor for a couple years, or mentee for a couple years. And, they just really build that relationship and that safety. And Mr. Ruiz just really worked with her to find out what is going to work for her. And, she built upon the goal setting. She built upon knowing how she learned best and such. So then we have the mentor time too. So I'm not going to spend too much time going over the platform because we are running a little bit out of time. But all these videos are, like I said, on our school website. This video just kind of goes over what the actual platform looks like, but you as parents are going to have a lot of time during the beginning of the year. We have different activities that we actually send home for the students to do with the families, and basically they're going to teach you the platform, but they have to kind of learn it first, so we give them a few weeks, and then before parent conferences, we do a little contest, so students that walk their parents through the platform do get entered into a drawing and a raffle and stuff. So, but just really quick with that project-based learning, this is a project that they'll be working on. And like I mentioned a little earlier, they do certain checkpoints that basically make sure that they're understanding what needs to be done versus us just saying, okay, well, we're just going to do this project and have fun. Hopefully I get something good at the end. No, we don't do that. So we know as teachers is exactly where the student is at and what they need, what supports they need, and how we need to move them through the project efficiently, as well as meeting their needs as a learner. And the platform just really helps with the teachers with data and everything like that. The students also see their full year. They know where they're at, so this is a pacing line, and they know where they're going. And me as a classroom teacher, I really appreciated this was because sometimes as a teacher, or even as a student, they just don't know what's coming up next. And, I just think that it just offers some safety and comfort to be like, oh man, look what I've done so far. Or, hey, this, DNA barcoding project looks really cool coming up, so it gives them something to look forward to as well. Another part of the platform is there's this progress page, and it's kind of like a news feed. It tells them what they've done. So this student on this date mastered this focus area, which is where they do their content knowledge, and they can see where their grades are. They can set a goal grade, and they know who their mentor is. So this is just kind of like a news feed kind of a thing that they have access to. They really don't spend a lot of time there. Our teachers are constantly in training all year long, so they're going to be going to a week-long training in July, and they've actually been doing quite a lot. We've been doing some training for the last 5 weeks, and so it's just a really robust training program. Additionally, this summit is nationwide. It has, I believe, this is an old graphic. I believe they're up to 75,000 students and over 500 schools now. I apologize, I don't have an updated one. They haven't released one yet. So, but it is, it's not just us doing it. We were actually the first in the Valley to do it, and now there's about 4 other schools that are doing it, and we hope to get some more. So I did want to say or show you some tips or tools for the parents that are going to help support their learner in Summit Learning. So the first one is the Summit Learning post that I'll be sending out on Parent Square. It's going to identify the weekly goal page, which I'll show you in just one sec, and basically what each student should be doing each week in the platform. So you as a parent can come alongside and say, hey, this was due today, or you were supposed to do this today, where, show me what that is. We don't explicitly assign homework. That's a school policy. However, whatever they do not complete during the day, and they're given plenty of time to complete it, does revert to homework. So you as a parent can pull up this weekly goal sheet and say, okay, show me this, checkpoint, it was supposed to be due today, kind of a thing. You don't necessarily need to know the content, but it's just more of that accountability piece, and or just have them teach it to you if you find it interesting. So this is what the weekly goals page, it might look a little bit different. We kind of modified it a little bit for distance learning, but essentially it has a time here, and then it'll have the Zoom link, and then what they should be accomplishing during that time. So you can see, they should go to a theme workshop, or should taking some notes and stuff like that. The next part is a parent snapshot, and what these are anywhere from bi-weekly, weekly, monthly, or bi-monthly texts that Summit automatically sends out. We don't have control over what gets sent out, besides the control we have is what, keeping updated with the grading and stuff in the platform. So what it does is it just gives you a snapshot as a parent to know how your student is progressing in the platform. And it'll say, Harry completed his English project, ask what cognitive skills he improved. Again, you don't have to know about the history project he did. You just, ask him to tell you what he's excited about, or congratulate your child and ask, what they did to improve. So it just kind of gives you some little talking points that you can have with your students, and you do have the option of opting out once you get the initial text, and it has instructions on that. The next part is you actually have access to see exactly what your student sees in the platform. So in the first coming weeks of the school year, I'll send out this access, and it will have, your own parent login and password. So this will be your side. You don't have to log in using your students' information. You have your own, so you can be monitoring them that way. So the next steps, we want to make sure that you come to some parent ed nights, and I do have the video, but I'm a little bit out of time. We do these about 4 each year, so 1 a quarter, and I send out notifications and stuff, so you definitely know about it. And these are super valuable because we take basically a component of the platform and break it down into small chunks, so that it's easy. We understand that this is overwhelming and it seems like a lot, and we want to make this as efficient and as understandable as we can, because ultimately once you guys understand it, you're going to help support us. And it's, the triangle, there's us as teachers, there's you as parents, and then there's the child. So if one piece is missing, it's not a complete trifecta. So we want to basically make you guys comfortable enough that you feel comfortable to support your student as well. So once school begins, if you are new to our school, you'll get invited to join or with an app or just with email, a program called Parent Square. And what this is it's our anonymous, basically, we don't have your phone numbers, we don't have your emails unless, basically what's given through the school, but it's a communication portal. Teacher, we put all of our announcements, everything school related comes through Parent Square. So it's super valuable and super important that every parent is on it, and that you're keeping up with the communications that are out there as well. So there'll be information coming to you about that once school year starts. So that's the end of my presentation. I'd love to, if anybody has some quick questions, I have about 4 minutes between the next session. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording. Why is it? Oh, there's